I'm Shivsy.
And I'm Nat, and together we are the Sisterhood Circle Podcast.
Our vision is to create connections with our community and inspire change in the world.
So be sure to subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to find out more.
So let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to episode 3 of our Sisterhood Circle Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about procrastination nation and powerful principles. Nat's wanted me to say that word there though, didn't you?
Yeah, you probably get it pronounced slightly different if it was me that was saying that. So yeah, put on swiftly.
So we're absolutely buzzing to be back in the studio today with a brilliant topic. So I think we should just dive right in. So first question, Nats. Do you procrastinate?
Absolutely.
Okay. Talk me through it.
I think everyone procrastinates in like their own way, but I think when it comes to tasks that you maybe don't feel as comfortable doing, or tasks that you maybe know is a little bit challenging, it's easy to put those kind of things off. I think we're all very good at doing the things that we're really, really good at without taking that off. But the things that are a little bit more challenging or a bit more daunting for whatever reason that they might be are the ones that we tend to go, I'll get to that tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes. What would you say for you?
No. I would say that I'm probably quite an action-driven person.
Yeah.
I remember years and years ago reading something about the difference between a successful person and or making a success of yourself is how quickly you take action on things.
Yeah.
It's not ever about the idea, it's how quickly you get to it.
Yeah.
And I think that that's always, for years been on my mind. But I wouldn't say that that's something that you're born with.
Yeah.
You absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, you develop it for sure. And I think for me, see the thought of having massive things on my to-do list, it strips the energy out of my day. Yeah. So I would rather put all of my energy into getting a job done and then it's done, rather than thinking, oh my God, I didn't do that. It really, it messes with my energy. So I think, again, it's tapping into yourself.
Yeah, of course.
So I think there are some things that you would slightly put off maybe, but yeah. I think that the bigger the fish, the faster you fry it.
Yeah. And it comes down to expectation as well.
Oh, yeah.
In what you've got, what you've got available. I think when I was maybe a bit younger and just getting into the world of work and stuff like that. And still to this day, in a way, I'm slightly better now, right? But I'd be like, oh my God, I've got so much to do. Don't really know where to start. Let's go buy a new notepad. Let's spend an hour writing a list. Make it look really pretty. And then I'd be like, right, okay, we'll start that tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And then it was you would chase your tail and you would try and get it done. I think now I still absolutely love doing a list, but it's the understanding of, are you being realistic with the expectation of what is on that to be able to get done? And does that make you procrastinate more because you've got this unrealistic expectation of 15 things on your to-do list with 90 minutes to be able to do them? Yeah. And then that's where it starts to spiral and you're just kind of stuck in that loop of all these open loops, as we talk about, and nothing actually gets closed. Yeah. But when any loop's open, as you say, energetically, what you spoke about there, it's like having tabs open in your computer. The more tabs you've got open, the quicker the battery drains. And it's the exact same when it comes to... I sound really good talking about this, don't I? Very much. No, but you know what? I think... Why do I not take my own advice right now?
But do you know what, though? I think that there is a difference between knowing and doing.
Oh, 100%.
And I think it's practice.
Yeah.
It really is. And I think it was quite interesting what you said there about creating a list of 15 things to do, right? We know that we've got lots of things to do, and usually what happens with a list of something that size is you pick the wee bitty things that you think, oh, that won't take so long and it'll get done, and it'll mean it'll be 5 things off my list. But me and Stuart speak about this all the time and we make a joke here. It's never a 5-minute job. Right, see, whatever you think that's going to be an easy job to do, it's no 5 minutes, right? Don't say to yourself, right, I'm going to do these 10 things today, because realistically, I don't think the human brain is meant to be able to do all of those things all at the one time. You're meant to be able to focus, get something done, close the tab. But if you're putting all of that on your list, what happens at the end of the day is you feel like you're failing.
Yeah.
And then what does that drive? Does that drive motivation to keep going? Or do you end up just dropping the ball?
Shutting the book and then pushing it.
Aye, 100%.
I think it's funny, like, anytime you've made that list, right, so you've got like 15 things sitting on this, we're talking sake, right, all in like order of all the things that need to do. And then you get to the end of the day and you look at what's highlighted, right? So I joked before coming on, I get an actual buzz off of highlighting something and knowing it's done. It's like a wee bit of dopamine. I'm like, oh, good job, get yourself a pat in the back. So when you open the book and you look at it, and you would expect methodically to go from the top of the list to the bottom of the list. Instead, what I've done is I've looked at it and been like, right, what am I good at? What do I enjoy doing? Right, okay, I'll do that one.
Yeah.
Do that one later, I'll do that one. So you end up with like 4 things that either come really naturally, are in a comfort zone, or maybe did only take 5 minutes to actually do, and go, oh, right, that's me. Get the rest tomorrow. And I think there's a lot to be said for like temperature checking a to-do list. I always remember like a talk when we were down at IFS a few years back, been like, a to-do list is one thing, but what's the temperature on that list? Like, how time sensitive is something and how red hot does that need to be done? That should be the thing you're putting up at the first, but it tends to be the thing that you always want to put last, because the red hot stuff tends to be a little bit more challenging,
Stretch you a bit more,
a wee bit more uncomfortable, might take more time, or might just be something that, whether it be you need to learn in the process of doing it, or whether it be that it's just going to be a meaty ass job and you're just like, oh,
I don't really want to have to do that. Exactly.
I think that's a big thing.
I think a big thing is as well playing to like your own personality and your own strengths when it comes to a list, because there's always shit you don't want to have to do. Correct?
Yeah.
Like there is, and like I think that we play massively towards our strengths and what you said, like what you really, really enjoy doing. For me just now, I'm doing a task that is red hot. Right, for work. It's absolutely red hot. Is it destroying my soul slightly? Yeah, I mean, it's spreadsheets. It's bloody spreadsheets. Lucky I've got a very, very good friend, Shari, that is helping me with this, because I'm not very good at it. But there's so much in me every morning when I wake up that I know that needs to get done. Is it filling my cup? Is it filling me full of joy? Yeah. No. But see, if I was leaving it until Monday, Tuesday when the deadline was happening, I know that would give me even more discomfort. Yeah. So I think it's as well like identifying if I don't do something on that list, if I procrastinate on it, what's it going to do to me? Is it going to destroy me? Is it going to cause me more stress? Yeah. And I think you've got to be really, really honest when you look at your to-do lists and stuff like that and go like that, right, okay, how has that impacted?
There's an element of it though, like some of your to-do lists can always be outsourced if you're willing. Like, so like, and this is probably a personal thing, like for me, for quite a lot of like my younger years and like getting into the world of work and stuff like that, there was this element of it had to be me. Like, I am an absolute control freak in my own way, right? And anyone listening will be like, yeah, Shiv, like this, right? I am, like, I think sometimes I just like understanding that something's been done well, start to finish, and maybe didn't always allow opportunities for growth in other people that could have assisted with that. But I think as you start to get like a little bit more experience under your belt and all that, like even in our working capacity, like we've got like me and Arthur, we've got Jill and Paisley, and then we've got you overseeing everything. Each one of us have got so many different strengths, and see when you've got a to-do list that you're like, do you know what, like I detest that job. Yeah. Like, it does not fill my cup. It brings me with really negative energy, and it's probably going to be the last thing that I do. 9 times out of 10, those things I look at, and I know that Jill absolutely thrives off them and loves them, but I know she's got things on her list or a more creative capacity that fill mine, and it's going, right, how can you actually get people on your side to be able to help you? It doesn't always mean outsourcing, and it maybe being like financially getting to help you with them and like outsourcing skills and stuff. It can just be people within either your circle or your working capacity that you can go, right, straight away they're going to help me with that,
and they'll enjoy it, and that'll fill their cup,
and then you help them with the stuff you're good at that fills your cup. You've already filled your cup by doing something you enjoy, but you've also went, I've actually helped someone. I've taken it not just off my list of things that need to be done, I've helped them. And then you get that happy buzz when you help other people.
There you go. So now we've fixed it. So that's what you've got to do. Right? That's what you've got to do. Right? That in a nutshell.
Your pals for you to help with.
See, to be fair though, I think we've got a wee bit of a cheek when it comes to this though, because this podcast, I'm like, hi, I'm not a procrastinator. How long did this take to happen?
18 months, I think.
A little bit of time. Little bit of time.
I think it's a really important one because that was procrastinating in a totally different capacity.
Yeah.
Like, I think, there's the daily tasks that we avoid because we maybe don't enjoy, or there's the things that we go, oh, it's going to be hard, I'll just leave it. I think we also procrastinate for deeper reasons.
Yes.
Whether it be, right, okay, that it is a creative idea that you've got that you're hoping to turn into a business venture, whether it be taking the leap of like the idea of going for a new job, but it's going to take certain amounts of things. Like, all these are ultimate big to-dos, but they come with big labels attached to them for loads of different reasons.
Definitely.
And I think you've got to be willing to ask yourself those kind of tougher questions as to why are you procrastinating on it. I think for so long last year we just said we're so busy.
Yes.
Like, and it was.
And we were busy, and I don't know if we could have actually like spun, like, I don't think we could have spun this plate last year. I genuinely don't. I think that both, I think the Sisterhood Circle might have been on our gravestone.
What was I saying? The time up anyway. Right. Oh, by the way, that like this one
that's been buried
me.
Yeah.
There's a point I was like, right, let's get it tattooed on our arm. And then there's a point I was like, that's actually put me in a grave early.
Yeah. So we had this saying last year. There was a lot to do last year with the businesses and like the gyms, and we were recruiting and training new teams, which is absolutely, like, it's a giant task.
We're spinning the Dubai plate.
Yeah, everywhere. There was a lot going on, and we were saying, like, oh, do you know what? Just do it. The time's going to pass whether you do it or you don't. But also to that level where it ended up having, like, see, by the end of last year when I left to go to Thailand, I was done. Like, and I don't think I've ever felt that spent in my life. So that I think there's a lot to be said about procrastination, but also, like, on the other side of that, knowing when, like, your plate is as full as it should be. And that is, like, something that I've been trying to probably teach in the gyms for years. And now, even now that I'm saying it, I probably hadn't thought about it, but my plate is as full as it likes to be. Is a great way to say, or as I'd like it to be, sorry, is a great way to say no to things.
Hugely.
And our plate was like a bloody buffet. It's the mic!
So by the time we got to the weekends, like Monday to Friday, anyone that probably seen us in a working capacity were like that, oh, like, they're on form, they're great. See, by the weekend, like, I remember sometimes maybe covering a Saturday and stuff, and then coming home and being like, having to sleep for like an hour or two and then pull yourself together and go, right, I'm dealing with my normal life just now. I think the analogy of like your plate being as full as what you want to be is really, really good, and something you're really good at is saying no. Yeah. And I think it's a really great skill. We joke that I struggle to say no a little bit more, and I normally try and rephrase it to be like, I'm struggling to do that just now, but and I'll always give like something that I can do because I've just have this bit of guilt. Yeah. But I think as I'm starting to get older, there's less guilt attached to that because you're not people pleasing as much. But to revert back, the time will pass anyway, whether you do it or not, is something we just don't really say between ourselves anymore.
I buried that on the week. I go somewhere. No, don't ever come out and I'm not picking you up next year.
Never again.
Never again.
So I think that last year we were really, really busy, and it probably masked the deeper reasons as to why we weren't taking action on starting the podcast sooner. But when we really got to the nitty gritty and we spoke about like what is maybe holding us back, it was that fear element that was stopping us from really taking massive action on just taking the leap and making it something.
Yep. And I think like fear is a big part of inaction and judgment. And I think that what we thought about, and I think we spoke this maybe in the first or second podcast, was like you're very comfortable in your environment to just be yourself and be authentic with that. But then you're going to be taking this out and it's going to go out to the world, like, hopefully, woo! But it's going to go out to the world, and then you're opening yourself up to things like judgment and critique. Yeah. And also that wee bit of imposter syndrome, like, that is like, I mean, like, so many, I think so many people, so many women in business, like, are affected by imposter syndrome. And I think, like, the first time that I actually ever heard it being mentioned, because it wasn't mentioned back when I was like coming up through the ranks or anything like that, and it was a girl that I used to work with, another Siobhan actually, and she was like, oh, I've just got such imposter syndrome about this, and I was like, what is that? And she explained it to me, and I was like, my God, I've had that my whole life. Yeah. And just for anybody that maybe doesn't know or the phrase imposter syndrome, it's basically when you think that you're going to get found out for like being a fraud in your job or in your life or whatever for the work that you do, because it can't physically be you that's doing all of this, when it actually is.
So here's the question then, right? So imposter syndrome is never something you'd heard of coming through the ranks. Has imposter syndrome been cultivated as social media has started to grow that little bit more, and the more pressures that come with that?
Yeah, potentially. I think it was the term being coined, imposter syndrome, that I hadn't heard before. I would say the feelings that were attached to it, I thought it was just me, and it wasn't really spoken about. So I think for me personally, I think it was given a name. It was given a condition. And it was easier to kind of probably chat about because it was given something. Do I think that imposter syndrome is maybe something that's like on the rise, or hearing about it's on the rise because of social media? Potentially, yeah. What do you think?
I think it comes from that whole comparison. Like as well, I think that's a huge thing, and I think comparison is only getting more and more and more with the more like social media outlets that there are, that you can then compare yourself to, all that kind of stuff. I think it just comes down to like saying that thing like, are you qualified enough?
Yes.
So I think if you think about imposter syndrome, it's like you don't believe you're qualified enough to do what it is that you're doing. I mean, it came in the podcast, imposter syndrome. Is there a podcast qualification? Do you need a qualification to come on and just chat?
Do you?
I hope not, because we definitely don't have it.
Don't tell us.
Secret is out. But yeah, it's like that whole, am I qualified enough for it? And I think like that holds so many people back from whether it be an idea, a business venture, or just going for that next step in life, or challenging themselves with a new job. Am I qualified enough for it? And you go like, every single person in life is just trying their best. No matter what qualifications they've got, no matter whether they've studied, whether they've not, like they are absolutely trying their best. And I think imposter syndrome, when you really break it down and look at that and you go, what is the worst that is actually going to happen here? Right? Like if you think about the worst possible thing that could happen here, and you know that that's it, then why hold yourself back from actually just trying? Do you want to look back and go, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, like, wish I'd just done that? Or do you want to go, do you know what, I'm going to give this a bash, and the worst thing that's going to happen in 12 months' time is I'm going to look back and see that end outcome I said was the worst thing that could happen? That'll be it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like, do you know what, I'm actually really happy that you spoke about that there.
Yeah.
That the worst case scenario.
Huge.
What a lot of people don't do though is what's the best case scenario, and that's where my head automatically goes. It's true. Like, how could this go right? And because see, if you change your perception on something, right? You like human. What would I even call that? Can't remember. The way our brains think as humans, we want to protect ourselves, right? And what happens is our brain automatically goes to the worst case scenario because it's trying to protect itself. It's just it's fact. That's what happens. See if you can retrain your brain to go like that. Actually, what is the best outcome here?
Yes.
Would you be more inclined to take action? Fuck yeah.
100%. There we go.
That's our first one.
See, before it took us to episode 3 before that came into play.
Sorry.
Good job, by the way. I'm glad it was you and not me. Yes.
Anyway, right.
And there's so much of your brain that you can actually retrain.
Yeah.
Right. And I think this probably leads us quite nicely actually into like the chat about like your chimp.
Oh yeah.
And what actually is your chimp, because so much of that is retrainable when your awareness is a lot higher surrounding something like that. So I think you've hit the nail on the head that if you can retrain to look at what's the best thing, the energy changes round about it, and your energy changes round about something, your motivation, as everyone likes to use the big old, I'm not motivated enough to do it. Easy for me to say on a Saturday morning.
She didn't say the effort.
I know I'm buzzing with that, by the way. And then they're like more likely to take action. And it's not that they're more motivated, it's just that they've flipped the coin and they've looked at it from the other way and got excited about it. So then can actually put it into action from there.
So you had mentioned there the chimp nuts, right? So you had read a book,
The Chimp Paradox,
quite a few years ago when you were at a point in your life where...
I would say that there was a point in life where there was loads of change happening for me. Like I'd just stepped into like full-time job instead of going to university. I just moved out like my mum and dad's house, all that. And it was a point in my life that I was like, what is this feeling like? That whole tight chest, all that kind of stuff. And I ended up exploring it a wee bit, probably after a lot of tears and snorters. You probably got to see the most of.
I think I've actually got a photo.
It's when you know it is a good pal that takes a picture when you're bawling your eyes out.
I was trying to make you laugh. I was trying to make you laugh.
Yeah. But all jokes aside with it, I thought it was like, right, okay, I'm really suffering badly with anxiety. And don't get me wrong, I do believe that there was a touch of it, but I think upon reflection and looking back, there was a lot of it that was just, I didn't know how to control that inner voice in my head. And this is where the chimp paradox comes from. So it's a book by a guy, Steve Peters, I'm sure. So he used to be like the head of the Great Britain cycling team for Sky at the time. And he's written this massive book. Now, I started reading it. It's a lot of big words in it, so I started listening to it. So it was a little bit more easier to digest. Got to the point I was like, right, so I'll read that word and then I'll Google it, and I've got no clue what that means, so let's just listen to it. And it talks about the analogy of that inner voice in your head being a chimp. And most of us struggle in life because we let that chimp run wild, right? The things like bouncing off the like four walls of your head, and it's taking over. So everything that you do in life, it's got an opinion.
Yeah.
And talks quite a lot throughout it about how you actually can use your chimp to your advantage and how it can be a negative, but most importantly, how you put your chimp in your cage, so to speak. And I believe that massively was a huge turning point for me within my own head of going, right, okay, so what is my chimp? What are the common things it says to me? Like a lot of mine at that point in time was like fear of failure. Like not being good enough, like failing, all that kind of stuff. And it could be seen as a negative when that's all you were concentrating on. No wonder you were like, what am I doing with my life? What's happening? But the flip side of that is if your inner voice is telling you you've got a fear of failing, it's then creating a really great opportunity that you've got standards.
Yes.
You've got a work ethic and you want to rise to that. So I think a lot of people, when you don't understand that voice in your head, can see it as dead doom and gloom.
Yeah.
But when you actually start to educate yourself on, right, okay, what are the sayings that happen? What are the common themes that come into my mind? And how can I flip that? Like, what's the positive of it? And I don't think we talk about this all the time actually in everyday life. Mine never goes. Like I do feel like I've got a constant voice, like coming in here today, like that imposter syndrome, qualified for that, right? Okay, even like what you're wearing, like, right, how does that look? Like, what will people think of me? Like, there's always that wee running channel there, but the more you know about it, the more you can start to mute it and you can silence it. It doesn't mean that it's never going to be there.
Yeah.
But you're in control.
You can, as well as that though, you can also like, you can tell it like, shut up, you're talking nonsense. This is so silly. And usually, see, when like we chat about these things, I think it's when you let it out of your mouth, you realise how daft it is. Like you're thinking about these things that are probably never going to happen. The whole world is cutting about, thinking about what everybody else is thinking about them. So nobody's actually thinking about you.
Do you know one of the most powerful things that I think anyone that feels like they've got a chimp that can run wild in their head can do? See all the mad stuff that comes into your head, write it down.
Yeah.
Like I remember like when I was first discovering all of that and starting to be like, what is this? Like I wasn't probably that open about it at the time. Like I thought I was actually going to be a bit doolally and there was some seriously wrong. So I wouldn't tell anyone about it. But I had a book and see like the mad stuff that would come in, I'd just write it down. And I remember like I reached out for some help in the early days when I thought it was like more anxiety and actually just an inner voice in my head that needed to be told to, I want to say the word again, right, but and one of the things said was like, see when you write it down, highlight off what's true.
Yeah.
Right, like open it and see if there's something that your chimp is telling you and it is true, highlight it off.
And I think honestly, that's a phenomenal tool.
And see when you looked at it and you maybe like 4 pages of some batshit crazy stuff, by the way, like honestly. And there was like 2 things highlighting, you'd be like, I think I'm going to be all right. It's going to be fine. But I do think like I massively praise my chimp for the work ethic and the drive that I've got. Yeah. The things that I now do. Like I think it drives you when things are tough to keep going. Yeah. It drives you when you've got an idea that's going to take a little bit of extra and all that great stuff. It drives you to go, what could this be? Yes. And when you flip that coin to it, I think it's a really good thing to have. Like I feel like I'm grateful that I've got it because it pushes me to strive to be better.
Do you think that you have then, if we think about that, right, is your chimp the same chimp it used to be, or did you mould it into something that is actually, like, it's a good driving force. It's still there talking along the nonsense sometimes, but it drives you maybe in a different direction.
I think when you talk about like you can train your brain,
Yeah.
like I think I've trained my chimp.
What
It's mad when you think, right?
Did you-
Like I only to give it a name. I had to. So like this has been really quite open now. As I said, like I went to like some counselling in the early days, and I remember one of the things she told me to do was like to draw my chimp, right? I was like that. Don't get me wrong, like the women massively like savvy session. Like to draw my chimp, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, is it a chimp? Is it a human? Like, is the chimp just the word for it, or is it like this wee mad animal that's like turning about in my head? And I was like,
That was your chimp.
When it actually got me worse than I actually just been like, right, control your chimp. But I think like you can train it.
Yeah.
Like you can train it to be like, right, just in your box. Like I don't need you just now. Like you can train it to help you. Like we always talk about like that chimp when it comes to exercise for us, right? And this is mad. So Shivs and I obviously train together.
Yeah.
Quite a lot, and we've got so many similarities, but like program wise, we're so different.
Without a doubt.
You, before we probably go into this, like have you ever felt like you've had a chimp?
No, like, don't get me wrong, like, there'll be a wee couple of things, like, maybe I'll be like, oh no, I didn't mean it like that, I meant it like this.
Yeah.
But that's probably as far as it goes. Like, if I say something out loud and it maybe sounds not quite right once I've said it out loud, like, I'll correct myself and be like, oh, actually, that's not how I meant that to come out. But I just don't know if that's maybe an awareness thing in myself rather than a chimp in my head. Do I overthink things? No. Unless I see somebody says like happy birthday to me and I say happy birthday back, or my people think that. Like I'll be like, yes, actually 10 years later, do you remember that time that I said happy birthday back to that person who said happy birthday? Like I'll maybe think about stuff like that, right? But is there a chimp in my head? Still scarred.
See what I'm thinking.
What were you going to say?
I can't say it in the podcast.
Really? Will you tell me later? We might tell you this is later.
Just sweating laughing. Anyway, so Shivsy will overthink when she says happy birthday to someone back when it's not that you left it, right?
But apart from that, do I really massively overthink things? I do think about things, but I would say that I'm very good at 24-hour rule and then it's done. I would say that when we train, this is something that you brought up there. We were running a treadmill once and we were doing a sprint session, right? And
I'm painting such a good picture of myself, by the way.
You're bloody amazing.
I'm the psychotic one in the Sisterhood Circle.
Well, we do need like yin to yang, don't we? So yeah, we were running on the treadmill. What are you still in your head, isn't that?
It was me trying to frisbee myself off a treadmill to go this head.
Right, well, this is the thing. So like this session was wild hard. It was like crazy, like uphill sprints, all of that kind of stuff. And Nat is like, oh my God, this is so hard. Do you ever just feel like you want to just like let yourself fall off the back of the treadmill? And I turned to her and I was like, no. I was like, what is going on in your head? And we finished the session and then we had this conversation.
I really want to know though, right? Like, see if you're training, like whether it be on a treadmill, whether it be doing a session or something really meaty. Have you ever thought like, how can you get yourself out of this? Because it's really that hard and that wee voice being like, you can't do it. So like tripping up on a treadmill, great excuse, right? Like fall flat, bang off it, maybe a wee bit injured, right? See, in like the middle of some events that I've ever done, like I just roll my ankle and don't really need to finish though when it gets really hard.
I mean, she doesn't do it.
I don't, right? Because I'm, believe it or not, I'm really stubborn, right? Control freak.
Stubborn,
psycho.
She's none of those things, by the way.
We're going to talk about later. No wonder I put off thinking online dating. Nut job. So yeah, I would say like there's this wee like thing in my head, right, of like I know I can do it. I love doing the really hard stuff. I love doing the stuff that people tell me I can't do, and like I really like that feeling of being like in control and proving to myself that nothing will tell me otherwise. But it doesn't mean that during it I'm not having these internal battles. Like when I'm mid sprinting on a treadmill, absolutely feeling like I'm at death's door going, right, how do I get out of this? Like there is that, but then the flip side is you then control your chimp to be like, right, pull that back, I'm doing this because I'm going to get faster, I'm going to get stronger, or whether it be like charity events that you've done in the past and stuff. Like, and everyone always jokes whenever I come up with an idea like for fitness. I love doing some crazy stuff, but it's not even that it's crazy, it's just I like doing the challenge and I tell myself that I can't because it keeps me in check. It gives me an opportunity to prove to my chimp like, do you know what, you're like running the
do it.
place here, like this is my story, I'm going to write it, you'll help me, but off you truck.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think like I wouldn't say like, would I say that you're stubborn in a really positive way? I would say driven rather than stubborn. No, I would say driven rather than stubborn. I would say from like a personal kind of side of things. See, whenever I train, see when people like use the term "I'm in the pain cave." I don't know if one or two things haven't happened. Either I've not pushed myself hard enough to be in the pain cave, or I just accept the feelings for what they are at that time and allow them to be. And I think that there's a lot of weight in being like, aye, this is hard and it's fine. Yeah. Aye, this is hard and I'll be done in an hour. And I would say personally in my brain there is never a point where I'm like, I can't do this. Yeah. There's never a point where I want to throw myself off a treadmill. But I don't know.
You say it like that.
I know. I mean, I'm not saying jump out a window, like go throw yourself off a treadmill. But I think that I don't know that I remember ever there being a time like that in my life where I felt like that either. Yeah. So I don't know if there's maybe just I did different, like maybe my signals are just different in my brain. But I always, I think I said this to you the last race that I did. Like I usually, if I'm racing, I'll listen to 2 songs and they almost like, I don't know, they settle my brain. They put me into almost like a wee bit of a trance. Yeah. This sounds a bit bonkers, right? I listen to these 2 songs and I'm like, right, I'm ready to go. And then see that last race that we did, or that I did, I can't even remember some of the stations. I just felt like it just went, whoom, autopilot. Not a single thing happened in my head. It was all in my body. Yeah. And I think, see if you can get out of here, you can train yourself to not be in this place anymore and you can get into your body. There is absolute... like there's weight behind that for sure.
I think it's huge. I think like in this day and age as well, like a lot of people are struggling with they're struggling with mental health challenges, and you go, do you know what, like it is the biggest muscle in our body and we just don't pay attention to it. Like whether it be that we feed it with all the wrong stuff and like nutritionally, but also like what you consume on a day-to-day basis that we'll go on to talk about further. But like there's so much of this that you can actually control when you just start to pay attention to it. It doesn't mean that, right, okay, things go away, but see when you can control, and as you say, you've got things that get out of your mind and into your body for a period of time. Like we spoke yesterday when we were chatting about some of the podcasts, like exercise is the biggest thing that will ever mute that.
Oh yeah.
Like as much as, don't get me wrong, sometimes I'm trying to chuck myself off a treadmill right out of the session, but the majority of the time, like when you train, like it's the one opportunity in life that you've got that nothing goes through here because you're just so in your body and so doing. So yeah,
there's a lot to be said.
I think everyone's got to get another chimp.
Yes, definitely.
Have a good relationship with it. Tell it when it's going to do well, but also put it in its cage. All jokes aside,
for sure.
When it doesn't need to.
So we've talked about procrastination, the chimp, all of the voices in our head. The next kind of thing we want to talk about is what's the flip side of that? Yeah. Your powerful principles. And I think that's really important to get clear on what your powerful principles are and the actions you can take around them. So what I would say is, I think that we touched on this earlier on, right? But to get out of procrastination, it's about how quickly you can take action. Yeah. I think that there's a book, Mel Robbins, I think, said in her book, the 5-second rule. Yeah. Right. And basically, if you think about an idea or taking part in a task or doing something, you need to get moving. You need to make action or traction on that within 5 seconds, or your brain will give you a reason not to do it. Your brain likes to stay comfortable in this comfort zone. So the first powerful principle for me is always action. Yeah. It's just like if I'm thinking about doing something and I can do it right now, then I'll do it.
It's an actioner, man.
Remember when we were on the car on the way to the gym the other day? And
it's the maddest thing, right? So I was speaking about messaging someone for something, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to drop them a message.
And I'm driving.
Right? And then like the conversation just got a bit quiet and I was like, weird. And she was like, I just messaged them like, they know. And I was like, my phone's in my hand. One less. Valid point.
Yeah.
Right.
And in my head, like, I can't fathom that, do you know what I'll do? I'll message them later when I'm really, really busy, and I'll put it on my to-do list, and then it'll not be done.
I forget the dopamine rush when I didn't get it highlighted, but
I tell you what, though, the task, what was it?
the task
Second, I
got
can't even
done.
remember. Was it with your car?
I was not talking about a car, man.
Okay, moving swiftly on. Are we going to stick with that one?
I think we can definitely bring the car up when it comes to positivity and controlling the controllables.
Yes, okay.
But we'll pick that wee guy later on.
We will,
I think
definitely.
we spoke about this. Like, for me, action doesn't come as natural as what it does for you. So one of my biggest things is like deadline. Like I've got a deadline for something 99% of the time. It'll happen. But there's like the whole theory of, see, when you're going on holiday and you're going to catch a plane, right? Like your flight leaves at a certain time. Regardless how busy you are, how behind schedule, what you need to pick up, your suitcase is packed and you're at that airport because you're making the flight, right? No matter how close to the bonnet is, right? Sometimes closer than others.
You're in Sean.
By the way, I'll never forget that day, literally sprinting through an airport. He was raging.
No, so we wonder.
He's like, we're going to miss this. And I'm thinking, so worst thing that happens here, we need to buy another flight. It's an expensive mistake and you learn. Like, that's the worst thing that happens in that situation.
Super ideal. But anyway.
But yeah, so
Not
if you
feeling
set
fine.
yourself, yeah,
Sorry.
Shivsy likes to be very early.
Yes.
But she's never late. But yeah, if you put a deadline to something, you're going to make it happen because it puts a sense of urgency surrounding it. So I think a deadline and setting yourself personal deadlines for the tasks that you want to get done is really, really important to be able to make sure that action's actually then happening as well.
Definitely. I think that you're absolutely right in what you're saying around deadlines, and we do work really, really well towards them. Like us knowing that we were coming in today. Like, you're going to make sure everything's done. Like, you don't want to like show up and something goes wrong. So being able to kind of forward plan, have that foresight and make sure it happens and just making it happen. I think that the big thing is, if it matters to you, you make it happen.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, if it's a bit airy-fairy, you don't. So maybe again, getting clear, if you do have goals, are they actually my goals? And do they matter to me? And what am I going to do to make them happen? One of the big things that I would say is about like a powerful principle is how you start your day, right? And the worst thing that anybody can do at the beginning of a day is snooze their alarm. It is absolutely bonkers to me that people do that. There's so much science attached to it that you're knackered, right? You wake up, your alarm's gone off, right? And you fire the snooze on, or worse still, you've got 5 alarms set. Set one and get up, right? Or
That time you check my phone.
absolutely. Right.
7:05, 7:07, 7:09, 7:11.
So, right. So the science behind this is your body sleeps in cycles, right? And they're 90-minute sleep cycles. So see, as soon as you snooze your alarm, you're throwing your body into another sleep cycle. And see, if you wake up within that 90 minutes, you're humped. You're knackered. You're done for the rest of the day. You're absolutely shattered, right? Not only that is, you've snoozed your alarm, you've snoozed it again, you've snoozed it again. You wake up, you're now late, things aren't ready because you weren't prepared the next day. Your morning is off to an absolute poolah. It's like it's setting you up for failure, which then in turn means that you feel behind with things. Your to-do list doesn't get done. And then you're feeling on the back foot and you just feel like you're failing the whole day.
Yeah.
So if you can't get up when your alarm goes off, it's your first failing of the day, and it's the first thing that you set yourself a task to do. So if I can give you any advice, is as soon as your alarm goes off, throw your feet out of bed and just get up. Within 5 minutes, you'll be fine. So,
Do you have an alarm sound of choice?
yes, not this one. It's got to be a harp. It's like a wee gentle.
Wakey, wakey.
To be fair,
That was quite creepy.
what's with you?
That is therefore.
Aye. And then you snooze it again, raging. Oh, well, like, okay, no, you're actually
There's
good.
at points I get really good on it. There's points where the flip side of that being like, and we'll get into this in another podcast, like your sleep hygiene isn't good enough, and then how that snoozes your alarm. So yeah, story for another day, that one.
Yes, definitely. So with the harp, wake up nice and gently, straight up out of bed, take action, and then the first part of your day is complete and you don't feel that bad about it. Yeah.
I'll be changing your alarm sound right now and deleting the other 20 million alarms that you've got set.
Please.
The one that you already got.
Otherwise, I'm coming.
Shivsy knows where you stay.
Do it.
Keep this
Everyone
one
knows. I know.
You'll do all the damn day. Come with my heart to me. Yeah. I do it for the chance.
Can you not? It's lovely. Right, anyway. Eat the frog, the next powerful principle. Right, so I read this book a lot of years ago when I was over in Thailand again, and Stuart actually ended up reading it.
Yeah.
The kind of theory behind it is, see if you're going to need to eat a frog in the day, you're as well making it the first task that you do. So the biggest, baddest task that you would put off is the one that's going to drain your energy the most. It's going to be the one that you're thinking, I need to do that, and you never get to it, and you get to the end of the week and you've still not done it, and it drains your energy. Like, if you can pick the big task that needs to get done at the start of your day, within a few hours, it's very likely that it's going to be complete.
Yeah.
And it's something that you then don't have to think about. Doesn't drain your energy. You feel proud of yourself that you've done it. And feeling proud of yourself drives more action.
Yes.
When you feel disappointed is when you don't take action. So it makes you feel proud of yourself. So eat the frog. And if you've got 2 frogs, big jobs that you don't want to get done, eat the big juicy one first. If that's it, the one that you want to do.
And it is, like, you hit the nail on the head there, like, action drives action because it gives you a sense of achievement, and everyone chases that, like, I'm just not motivated enough.
Yeah.
And you're not motivated because you're not taking any form of action. So you don't get that sense of achievement that then just keeps driving that on and on. So as soon as you can get that, like, everything then just starts to fall into place.
And on you?
No, I'll go first.
No, I think as well, see, just very quickly what you had said there about motivation. I don't think that motivation comes from discipline and being disciplined to do the things that are hard, or the discipline to do things maybe you don't want to particularly do. Motivation is like a wave, right? When you're riding high, it's friggin' awesome, right? But when it's no there, you're no good. If you can get discipline, that's your middle line, right?
100%.
And what happens is it just drives motivation so much more. So I think that it's a really good idea to try and work on discipline rather than motivation, because motivation's fleeting.
Oh, totally. And then when you've got that discipline, that's when things like your action then starts to come. Everything ticks it over. So question.
Ask.
What's your frog?
Okay, this is actually a really interesting one.
It's quite an animal-based podcast. Your chimp.
Chimps.
Frog.
Maybe we should rename it.
The zoo. Sorry, I said it is based here.
Yeah, so does it. So I'm at quite a transitional point in my life right now.
Yeah.
I've taken a bit of a step back from actually working feet in the ground in the gyms, and I'm on a wee bit of a journey just now.
I miss you.
A little bit of a journey. I miss you too, by the way. I'm got a wee bit lonely. But I know that this is the next step for me, but I actually don't know what the step is. And this is the challenging thing. So as I had said in previous podcast about creating a vision board, my vision board for just now for myself, I've not created. And I mean, I do have the board and it winks at me every day. It does. It's like, oh, here, I'm over here.
In.
It is. The thing that I'm telling myself on why I've not created my new vision board just now is there's quite a lot of things that I've been trying to do for years and the business haven't there been, and I want to get the tasks done so that then I can focus on that and give my real attention to it without anything kind of hanging over me.
Yep.
But then the other side of that is, like, how do I know what I want to do if I don't have a vision board?
Yeah.
So it's a very different type of vision board for me this time, because it's going to be something new and I'm not really sure what it is yet.
Yeah. What feelings would you say you've got attached to, like, putting that off? Like, is there any big ones that you're like, right, okay, like they're the big either emotions or feelings as to why we're putting them off?
I'll be honest, not massively just now, because I know that I'm going to get to it, and I know that in my head I've given myself until April, like the end of April. Yep, that's my deadline, that I will get everything done that I've been trying to do for a long time. Yep, and I'm nearly there with like a big task, but I think that if I can close those loops that have been open for years, I think then it's going to give me the opportunity to actually go like, this is what I want, and I can be more creative. There's loops that need to be closed before I can say, right, this is what I want. So I think there's logic behind that as well.
Yeah.
What about you?
Zero logic behind mine, is there?
Okay, what's your frog, Nats?
My frog is any form of like dating, online dating, anything like that. I talk such a good game in terms of going to dedicate time to it. Like, this will be the year. Shivsy, honestly, like, is probably fed up hearing like this conversation or the excuses that come out. But I think I'm always like, oh, like when I've got time, I'll make an effort. Like when I'm not as busy, like I'll really commit to that. Like, and I'll do it. And I think it just, you procrastinate it because it's like the fear that comes attached with it. Like, I think that's probably the biggest different from you. Like, you've maybe not got an emotion like as such attached to yours. I think like the biggest fear for mine has always been like the fear of rejection. Yeah. So I'm like, if you just don't put yourself out there, man, like you just don't need to deal with it and you live in your bubble and life's great. But yeah, I think I procrastinate on that 100%. Probably noticed.
I think what you're saying as well, like you live in your bubble and everything's fine, that there's always this loop that's open of like, this is what I want.
100%.
And if you're, and I think we've spoke about this before, is like it's about prioritising what's important to you, even when it's hard. And I think like a lot of people probably feel very similar to this like situation that you're in just now as well.
I think like whenever you've got an open loop, like it's just a drain, and then the longer that loop stays open, the more your energy about that loop then starts to change as well. So rather than it being something that's then exciting, you then change it into like, oh, I just need to do that. And as soon as you've got like oh, I need to do that mentality towards it, that's when you then start to put it to the side rather than what could totally be from it. And I think as much as I joke about it all the time, right, like to probably brush it off a wee bit, but I think so many people like now would feel that way because it's so different. Like, where times you would maybe have just went out and like people were bold enough to, like, I would call it bold, it's just like normal conversation, like in years gone by, like it was, that's how you met people. As in now, like if you went out and you spoke to someone, it's like, oh my god, like she spoke to him, he's with somebody, like she's going to find out about that. It's all very like drama film, right? Where then it does push things to be like your only form of communication with people is then messaging. And how's your energy and your connection when you're messaging someone? It only goes so far. And then it goes so far, and then that's when I patch it, to be fair, right?
And this is the action thing, this is a serious like, stop messaging for 3 weeks, get in a date in day 3.
And that'll happen, but what then the fear of rejection? Like, what if you put that out and it's like, oh no, I'll patch that. So yeah, I think that is my biggest frog.
Okay, is it going to get squashed, eaten, put in a one day roll and pie?
By the way, guys, wait to tell you. Although I've not really sold myself well on this podcast.
I think that you are absolutely perfect.
Because I just got a chimp, man.
Right, yeah. Okay, so very quickly to finish because we're nearly an hour, by the way. Aye, very quickly to finish. We have gabbed a lot. How did that happen? Cool. We had asked one of our members we asked our members in the gym to put forward some questions to us that we would answer at the end of the podcast. So we have the lovely Fiona Miller from Curves in Irvine, and she asked, what are your top tips on staying positive? You're both really well, you both do really well at it and are really, really inspiring. So
yeah, I think my like number one tip would be, and we briefly touched on this in the last podcast, but like being selective with the words that you choose and the things that you choose to surround yourself by. Like the more you talk in a positive way, the more positivity you start to understand, you start to see. And it's not that all of a sudden life has got more positive, it's just your awareness is totally switched over. Like we talked about something called the frequency illusion effect, and it's like what you choose to focus more on is what you'll then attract more of, because your awareness is totally heightened surrounding it. And I think so many people don't do themselves any favours by the words that they say. And like, it doesn't mean that it's not true what they're saying, that's not necessarily what I mean, but if you are been like, oh my god, I'm so stressed, or can't so like that life, man, or just, life's so hard, no wonder it is bloody hard if that's all you're thinking and what you're doing. And we joked earlier about like, or we're even going to talk about Natsy's car. Like my car this month is broke down on me twice, had a blown out tyre once. And is it ideal? Absolutely not, right? Has it cost a little bit of money? 100%, but so much of that is out of my control. So, some of it maybe. So questionable, but so there's areas of that like I can't control. So why allow that to get me stressed, frustrated, angry? Just get it fixed and go, right, okay, what is my solution?
Yeah.
Do I keep the car? Do I get rid of it? Do I change it over early? Right, okay, that's it.
Exactly.
Right.
Rather than dwelling on it, yeah. And I think like that's a big thing is a lot of people dwell on hardships in their life. And I think that we spoke before about gratitude and like actually just changing the way you're thinking about your situation. Yes, everybody has things that are hard in their life. Of course you do. Like I woke up this morning when I want to go for a run and Stuart's like, but it's raining. And I'm like, but I'm running. Right, and then I was out running and I smashed into a big puddle, so my feet were soaking, and straight away my brain went, oh, that actually cooled me down, instead of going, oh my God, I'm pure raging that I stepped in this puddle. And it's so much about, again, training your brain to see the positives in everything, like a wee snippet of sunshine coming out, looking at that rather than looking at this total dull day. And it's I know that sounds silly, but that is the same way that it's the way you stay positive. It's about looking for the beauty in your day, and see if you don't think there's any beauty in your day, look again.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by it.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's a massive thing. Like, life is hard for everyone in their own ways, but there's so much greatness out there, and there's so much to be grateful for. There's so much that you can control about how you actually feel, and the more you open your awareness towards it, it gets to the point that you do it without even having to think. And that's at the point that people probably view us being like, oh, they're dead positive all the time, and it's like, yeah, we are. Like, things sometimes go wrong, there's hard points, but like there's so much to be grateful for.
Definitely. Yeah. And the final point as well is, do what you said you were going to do. Like, if you want to feel positive, you've got to do the things that you said you were going to do. If you feel like you're failing, you feel demotivated.
Yeah.
And see, when you feel proud of yourself, that drives feelings of action. So if you want to feel positive, do the things you said that you were going to do, and don't listen to the news. Also, that is, if you want to stay positive, don't listen to the news. I've not listened to the news or read a newspaper for decades. Right.
Our next venture will be the Happy News channel.
Yes.
So I kind of rounds up this one. So the question would be, do you actually turn up for yourself and do the things that you said you were going to do?
Fantastic. So thank you for joining us this week, and we'll see you next week for week 4. Thanks. Bye.